Sairam to all of you on this beautiful morning. In the name of God, the magnificent, the merciful, the majestic, God the beneficent, the subtle and the sublime, we ask Swami to be with us in ourselves and in everything. We ask that we may be able to see and feel and experience Swami's presence. So it's a blessing indeed for me to be here. I thank you for asking me here. It's lifted my spirits. I've been able to be a part of the energy and the feeling and the striving that's part of your life. So I wanted to start with this quote from Kabir. Kabir is the famous, sometimes thought of as Islamic saint. Sometimes people would say Shirdi Sai Baba was the reincarnation of Kabir because the two of them seem to be able to bring both the Hindu and Muslim communities together. So I think this quote from Kabir kind of exemplifies the situation that we're in. And I hope that you enjoy it as much as I do. Since the day I met my Lord, there has been no end to the sport of our love. I see with eyes open and smile and behold his beauty everywhere. I utter his name, and whatever I see reminds me of him. Whatever I do becomes his worship. Wherever I go, I move round him. All I achieve is his service, and when I lie down, I lie prostrate at his feet. When I rise or sit, I can never forget him, for his music beats in my ears. So, for me being here, not only being with you, but I'm also being with myself as a youth, because I was last here in Valmarin 45 years ago. It was 1969. I was a senior in college, and I had just found out about Swami. And November 1969, any good library would have this. There was an article in Newsweek magazine about Swami, and it was quite uplifting. And I was interested in finding a guru when I got out of college. I was interested in living a life of yoga. I had some interest in that. And so I saw that article, and it had a beautiful picture of Swami, and underneath it said, "Worship me every Thursday." And I thought, this is very, very strange, but very attractive. And the next week I was at a conference, and someone mentioned Satya Sai Baba. You have to understand, 45 years ago, Northeast US, there was very little mention of Satya Sai. And the following week after that, I was at a party, and I'm just sort of flipping through a Village Voice. It's sort of a throwaway newspaper. It's sort of junky. But at the bottom it said, for more information about Satya Sai Baba, write to Dick Bach in Los Angeles, which I did, and all of this information came. And I was thinking about Swami. The next week was Christmas. And my father knew I had some vague interest in India. So we went to this very small record store, probably about the size of this stage, in the small town that we were in. And he picked out a record for me for Christmas. And it was Satya Sai Baba Chants the Bhajans. Very few people saw that record, put out by Dick Bach from speech of Swami in the late 60s. And I listened to that record, and Swami said in the record, "I have come to drive evil back into the jungle." And I thought, this is different. All of the other yogis are saying, I will give you this experience. I will, do this for you. And you'll experience the blue light or whatever it is. And Swami said, I've come to drive evil back into the jungle. And also, Professor Kasturi, reading Swami's words, said, when the senses take hold in you, they will not let go until you're dead. And it sort of straightened me up. I realized, this is serious business. This is a serious business that we're in. So in that, right after those four coincidences happened, I wanted to be close to yoga. I wanted to be close to Swami in any way that I could. And so there were very few ashrams in the US. And it turns out there's one about a mile from here. And so a friend and I came up in late December. There was snow on the ground. It was freezing out. Had enough money to get to the Montreal bus station, and it's about 1 in the morning. It was funny coming up here to see all the traffic in Montreal, because then there was no traffic. And as a matter of fact, we were out on the highway on the way here, hitchhiking in the middle of the night, in the middle of December, freezing, almost freezing to death. And Swami in his mercy sent a policeman. The policeman stopped. He heard our story, put us in the police car, and drove us all the way here to Val Marin. So Val Marin has a very close place in my heart. And it also represented the end of the 60s. It was the last few days of the 60s, coming into the beginning of 1970. This was a whole new era for me. And it was also the end of the 60s when all that meant that search for freedom, both inner and outer freedom. And people were trying all of these external ways of reaching this freedom. And there were many great things happened, many bad things happened. There was a great amount of reaction and resound, shall we say. And by this time, some of those hopes and dreams were fading. And by Baba's grace, he came into my life. And so for that, I'm very grateful. He showed the way to an inner freedom that I hope we will all share completely. So at this age, at this time for you, the habits, the sensory habits that have hold of us, this is your time to root them out. This is your time when you have the ability easily to make these kind of changes. You need to take that moment and uproot them before they get a hold of you, before they cause mischief, before they cause problems in your life. Okay. I wanted to say, eliminate what doesn't serve you. You can skip all of the mental stuff that's getting in the way, sort of mental chatter, shall we say. Chatter that says, I'm unworthy, or I'm rejected, or I'm going to hell, or I'm going, whatever it is. It's all this mental stuff that we run on ourselves. So this is a chance that we can get beyond identifying with our habits, identifying with our preferences, identifying with our personality. To the extent that we feel those identifications is the distance that we feel from Swami. We need to realize that our habits are not our true identity, and that this is the time to change them. Okay. What I often say is, don't take that kind of guff, that kind of inner talk from your mind. I'm going to sort of cuff it. Okay. In American psychology, they often talk about this stage of life as a developmental stage, and they would describe it in a way that I think Swami would find sympathetic. They say that as we're young, we are looking to what other people do. We're looking at other people's actions, and we're saying, oh, this or that about these other actions, and we're concerned about what I'm feeling, what you're doing and what I'm feeling. As we mature, we come into a stage where we're questioning ourselves, what am I doing and what are other people feeling? We're sort of looking out for the others. Instead of being totally concerned with my feelings, we're looking out for other people's feelings. Instead of what are other people doing, what am I doing? So I wanted to share some of Swami's teachings that I'm hoping is particularly relevant for your age group. These were things that Swami told me personally, and so as you know, it may have a particular edge or a particular meaning for the person receiving it, but I suggest that you take it for whatever works for you. So sort of pick and choose. So I had a tendency to run around a lot. I used to go and see. I wanted to see the world. I wanted to be here. I wanted to be there. I wanted to experience this. I wanted to experience that. But Swami's not into that. This is not what Swami wants. And he told me quite directly one time, he said, running here and there, this is not my teaching. So I'm still in the process, decades later, of trying to work that out in myself. I still have that urge to travel. Oh, I would like to see this. I would like to see that. And it's a way of remembering Swami. He'll leave us a little seed so that many, many years later, we'll remember him. He's left so many seeds for us, so many little interactions. Also, It was 45 years ago, I was interested in Hatha Yoga, and I was interested in, I thought, oh, I'll be a yoga teacher, and this was before this was a very trendy kind of thing to do. And one day Swami looked at me and he said, Hatha Yoga, just temporary. And take that however. In other words, there are many good things, but sometimes we get overly involved. We sort of make a bigger thing out of things than should be. One time my wife was asking him, at a time when everyone was asking for a new name. They wanted a new name, a new spiritual name. And so she gave a little letter to Swami, and Swami was very accommodating, and Swami came up to her, and she said, and Swami used to tease her a lot because she would have this high-pitched voice. She'd say, "Oh, Swami, give me a new name." And he would joke back. He said, "Oh, Swami, give me a new name." So she's saying, "Swami, please give me a new name." And Swami looks at her and says, "It's name not important. Heart and love is important." So this is something for us to remember. And so, of course, I couldn't resist teasing her. I said, "Swami did give you a new name. Your new name is not important." I didn't have a chance to drop in on the social media group, but I was thinking about it in that at a young age I was a media addict, and now I like to say I'm a sort of a media addict in recovery. And so Swami obviously knew this, and he would work with it. He works with our flaws, and as a way of interacting with him, and that's what I was saying about the Newsweek and the Village Voice. It was a way of interacting with my own habits. He sort of came in. But he doesn't like it. And so one day he told me, he said, "Media in the West is completely bad." And I didn't say anything. I mean, what can you say to Swami? But I was thinking in my mind, completely? And Swami, he reads your mind as just part of the average discourse. He says, looks at me, he says, "Yes, complete." So he sort of cuts right to the chase. So use it, however. Obviously, media can do good things, but for those, right to it. Swami can also transcend time in ways that we can hardly remember. So here's one where he told me, and it took me a long time to remember this, but it sort of caught the arrogance of a child. I was sort of a little bit full of myself as a kid. Probably still am full of myself, and it's useful to undercut that kind of ego nonsense. And my mother was there, and Swami spoke to us, and he said, he's speaking about me as a 5-year-old child. And Swami's imitating me as a 5-year-old. He's saying, "Mommy, mommy, I know." So it's kind of interesting to see Swami. He's there in your childhood. He's dialing back. He's there either when you're 5 or he's there however he jumps one way or another. And one time he told me, not writing, causing your parents grief. And I thought, Swami, that's so unfair. I've been here in India for a year and I'm writing. I'm writing regularly. How can you say that? But then I thought back. There was a time a number of years earlier, and I was on one of these adventures, these adventure kind of things that I was doing. I was off in the Amazon, and it was sort of difficult to write, and so I said, it's no big deal, I won't write. And so the weeks went by, and my parents suffered because of my carelessness. And Swami was able to dive back to that even when I couldn't remember it, even when I couldn't see it. And he was using our history as lessons. So we have so many lessons in our life. So we don't want to get bogged down in the past, but we want to look to the past for what are the lessons, what are the experiences of Swami, what are the lessons from Swami that are useful to us now. It's revolutionary if the youth realize that youth is a temporary gift from God. This is important. This is a gift. Doesn't last. Some people think of it as the greatest gift. You know, and some people, you get older and you think, youth is wasted on the young. You know, I could really enjoy it. No, they're just throwing it away. If only they knew, they would really, really enjoy it. So even worldly people will say that. But from the spiritual point of view, it's also true. This is the time when you get the most mileage. You have the most leverage. This is one of these great deals. This is such a great deal, you can't turn it down. You have to take this deal. You have this youth. You have this energy. You need to take this to serve it towards serving others and to realize God. This is your rocket ship. This is your time to move in that direction. Okay. So, let's see. I think I had listed as a topic which about unity or not, unified or not. Everything awaits. I don't know why that popped into my mind. And it's, I guess, a little bit cheeky of me to say something like that. A small little topic, you might say, I can squeeze in 30 minutes. So, unified or not, that means we're here, we have unity with things or we don't. And it changes at every moment. This is really, really, struck me. I didn't understand for a long time about unity. I saw that the theme for your conference was focus on faith, openness, consciousness, unity, Psi. And I wanted to tell about my own relationship to unity. So I would hear Baba speak about unity, and I would think, oh, that's a nice thing to say, or that's sweet, or that's, nice that we should feel unified with other people. But I missed the simplicity of it, the importance of it. And one day, for me, at my level or whatever, I sort of suddenly understood it. Like unity. That means I should be unified at this moment. Like right now, standing here at the podium, I should be unified with this moment, fully enjoying this moment. This gentleman right here, I should be fully unified with this person. Not like I'm unified with you and you and you, but we're here. We're sharing this moment together. I'm unified being here in this gymnasium. I'm here in Valmarin. I'm here through relatives and acquaintances in California. I'm here with my friends in India. I'm here with Swamiji in Vaikuntha Loka, or whatever it is that Swami is. I'm unified with that. And then as we go through the day, I'm thinking about, will I get my coffee now? Or, how's the car doing? Gee, this person's got it better than me. That's the not unified. I'm sort of like looking for my little piece of the action. I'm sort of engrossed in my little drama. So there are moments where we're just part of the whole thing, and then there are moments where we drop down into this little drama. And we want those moments when we're unified to expand everything. So for me personally, going through the day, sometimes when I'm consciousness a little bit raised, I'll think, I'm unified. Or am I unified at this moment with what's around me? What would it be like if I was really unified at this moment with everything, with everyone? What would that be like? And I find for me personally that, this feels very nice. What would it be like if I was really living Swami's teachings? What would it be like if when I was a youth I had fully lived Swami's teachings? Oh, that would be so much. What if right now I were to live Swami's teachings? What if I were to right now be an exemplar of Swami's teachings? Oh, that would be so wonderful. Just even as I say that, I can feel myself get straighter, sort of rise up. In the Vivekananda traditions and whatever, he would say, awake, arise. So, for those of you in the last row, awake, arise. And for you behind the podium, awake, arise. We're all playing our roles, and awakening and arising is what we are about. So, I wanted to tell a story. Swami gives us so much, but we take so much for granted. I had a friend of mine was a very young fellow then. We used to call him Motorcycle Bob because he would sort of roar into the Whitefield ashram. One time Swami was out and he had to sort of room his motorcycle around Swami. So those were the kind of wild days. And one time we were working just before the opening of the Anantapur Girls College. And so they put us to work whitewashing some of the walls. And so he was kind of a wild guy. He took out a big brush and he painted on the side of the wall. It says, "Bob loves Baba." And just then the supervisor came in. I think it was one of the Hyderabad Sevadalas. Was like, "Oh no!" He says, "Leave," you know. And Bob was he managed to paint it all over. It was all nicely done in white. And who should walk in but Swami? And we're there painting away. And there's the supervisor, and he's sweating a bullet, you know, if Swami's going to come in and see what we've done on the wall. And he comes in at that moment, and Swami points to the supervisor, and he points to us, and he says, "See, good boys." So this fellow Bob was kind of a wild guy. And he later was an astronomer, and he taught some astronomy at the college there in Puttaparthi. And Swami one time gave him a Shiva lingam, said that this lingam has healing powers to it. You know, as you put some water over it and then you take the water, and if someone's ill and comes to you, you give them the water, and you know, it has healing properties. So obviously they were very thrilled, and they were very careful. They took it back to Woodstock, New York, where they live, and they mentioned it to a few people, and people were coming, and they were giving out the water. And at some point, the wife was thinking, "Gee, Swami, this is so much trouble. Maybe it would have been better if you hadn't given us the lingam at all." And you know, the husband was like, well, "How can you say such a thing? You know, like that's, you know, like a little scary." They left that summer. They rented out their house, and they packed away the Shiva lingam. They sort of locked it up. They thought they had taken care of it. When they came back at the end of the summer, the lingam was gone. And so they asked the renters. The renters swore up and down they'd never seen it. Nothing. There was a little girl. She said, no, nothing. And so my friend, all those years afterwards, he was thinking, he'd ask me, "What do you think? Do you think Swami took the lingam back? You know, was it something I did?" And there were things that he did that, you know, that Swami might have certainly given that experience of feeling. Swami gives, then Swami takes back. And so it gave him a chance to reassess himself years in, years out. And he would talk about the lingam. "What do you think about the lingam?" And I'd say, "Well, sometimes lingams seem to disappear on their own." And, you know, but anyway, there were all of those things. It became a symbol for him. First, it was a symbol of the great gift from Swami, the great healing from Swami. Then it was a gift of our distance from Swami and our yearning for Swami. Decades went by. And suddenly, a couple of years ago, he called me up all excited. He said, "Last night I got a call. You remember about the lingam leaving?" I said, "Yeah, sure I do." And he said, "Last night I got a call from the renter. The young girl was getting married. She was about 30 by then. And she said, 'I'm getting married. I'm leaving my parents' home. I have to confess, I took this,'" she didn't call it a lingam, "I took this egg." She gave it to her father. The father called him up. So my friend was so excited. He told me, "I had them send it to me last night by FedEx." And I was teasing him. I said, "When you absolutely must have your lingam by the next day, call FedEx." So there are so many blessings that Swami has given us. And sometimes we feel so unified with that, and sometimes we feel distance with that. And there's that hide and seek is a real essence of our experience with Swami. So, you know what you need to do. You take one step, then another step, and another step. You've been given all of the instructions, as our brother here was just explaining. And as they say on TV, when all else fails, read the instructions. And even more, Swami told us, he said, when you come to a crossroads, when you don't know what to do, ask me inside. Ask me intensely inside for 30 minutes, and I will tell you. But ask before you come to the crossroads, not after you're in it. This is important to ask. Even, experienced devotees forget to ask. You forget to ask. You think, oh, I'm trying to do this thing, and I'm trying on my efforts, and I pray to Ganesh, and whatever. You need to ask. You need to ask Swami. When all else, we go to Swami. Primitive. The food was terrible. Even Swami told my mother, he says, food here is terrible. There's no canteen or anything. And so across the road from his ashram there in Whitefield, there was only one little mini hotel. We used to call it the Horror Show Hotel because the food was so terrible. And after one of those sessions, we would go over there and we would eat the meal, and it would bring us down. It was, in a way, we were sort of almost deliberately bringing ourselves down. So be careful. You've been given divine energy. You want to savor it. You want to use it. You want to hold on to it as long as you can. I wanted to end by sharing a quote from the Gita and also sharing a quote from Anandadayi. This is a Telugu book. Probably a professor knows this a lot better than I do and probably lost something in translation. But it's from experiences of Telugu people in the 50s. And it reminded me so much of the Gita that Krishna is here today. Krishna saying, thickly veiled by my divine Maya, I am not revealed to all. This deluded world knows me not as the unborn and eternal. Swami speaking to his devotees in the 50s. And I think this applies to us. You know about me. I know about you. You know who I am. I know who you are. Do others know this? Others have not understood me. So Swami goes on. I think this is again appropriate for us at this situation. The devotees are saying, oh Swami, your grace is so overflowing. You're giving us so much. Swami says, when grace is overflowing, hold it. When I give you opportunities, what should you do? You should think, Swami is showering so much grace on us. Should we not follow his commands? Should we not get a good name from him? Thank you so much. Jai Sai Ram.